The moment you pick up your cabin key card, everything feels settled, but the real journey begins right after that. Two passengers paying the same price can have completely different experiences. One sleeps in silence, while the other takes sleeping pills because of vibration. I've worked on ships for years, and I can tell you this: what's above, below, and next to your cabin number is never written in the brochure. Every morning, I walk the deck and look at faces. Some are rested and smiling, rushing to breakfast. Others are exhausted with dark circles under their eyes, already regretting their cabin choice. The difference isn't always about who paid more. Sometimes it's about who knew what to avoid. A guest once told me she'd been on 12 cruises and only learned about the noise map on her 11th. That's 12 years of hit or miss. But after I shared a few guidelines, her next cruise became her favorite. She didn't upgrade, she just moved 3 decks down. Today I'm breaking our silent agreement and sharing the 9 noise secrets crew members know but rarely mention. These aren't complaints, they're patterns, and once you see them, you'll never book a cabin the same way again. Secret number 1: what's above you matters more than the view. If you're directly below the main pool deck, you'll hear hundreds of footsteps all day. Pool chairs scraping, kids running, music from the DJ booth. Some ships have rubberized flooring that helps, but older vessels or budget lines might not. One couple booked a balcony cabin on deck 8. Looked perfect on the ship diagram. Ocean view, midship location, good price. But right above them was the adult pool and bar open until midnight. Every night they heard glasses clinking, chairs moving, people laughing. By day 3, they asked if we could switch them. We couldn't. The ship was full. They spent the rest of the week sleeping with earplugs and a white noise app. Here's the fix. When you're choosing a cabin, check the deck plan. If there's a pool, gym, sports court, or jogging track directly above your cabin number, think twice. These areas see heavy use and constant activity. If you value quiet mornings or go to bed early, choose a cabin that has another guest cabin above you, not a public space. Even if the cabin above has energetic kids jumping around, it's still quieter than a gym with machines dropping weights at 5 a.m. Secret number 2: vibration comes from below. Most people assume noise comes from above, but vibration and low-frequency hum often come from below. If you're on a lower deck, especially near the waterline, you might be close to the engine room or bow thrusters. These are the mechanical systems that move and stabilize the ship. They're well insulated, but they're not silent. Some passengers feel a low rumble that doesn't wake them, but makes them feel uneasy. Others say it's like sleeping on a massage chair that never turns off. A guest named Sarah booked an inside cabin on deck 3 because it was affordable. First night, she woke at 2 a.m., feeling a vibration through the bed. Not loud, just constant. She called the front desk and they explained she was near the stabilizer system. They offered to move her to deck 7, same cabin type, and she slept perfectly after that. The lesson? Lower decks can be quieter in terms of foot traffic, but they carry more mechanical vibration. If you're sensitive to that kind of movement, stay midship and mid-deck. That's the sweet spot where most systems are farther away. Secret number 3: elevator and stairwell cabins never rest. Cabins near elevators hear the ding of the bell every few minutes. It's not deafening, but if you're a light sleeper, it adds up. Same with cabins near stairwells. People coming back from the nightclub at 2 a.m. don't always remember to keep their voices down. And if your cabin is directly next to the crew stairwell, you might hear staff moving around at shift change times, usually early morning or late evening. One of the quieter zones on most ships is the forward section of guest decks, away from the main elevator banks and public areas. Some people worry that the front of the ship is rougher in terms of motion, and that can be true in heavy seas. But in calm weather, it's often one of the most peaceful areas. Just make sure there's no theater or main dining room directly above or below you. I once had a guest who thought he was booking a quiet forward cabin, but it turned out he was right above the main show lounge. Every night at 8 p.m., the music and applause started. He moved after 2 nights. Secret number 4: balconies aren't always quieter. Balconies give you fresh air and a private outdoor space, and that's wonderful. But if your balcony is near the smoking area, you'll smell cigarettes. If it's under the sports deck, you might hear basketballs bouncing. If it's close to a lifeboat, davit, or maintenance hatch, crew might be working nearby during the day. I'm not saying balconies are bad. I'm saying location matters more than room type. A well-placed inside cabin can be quieter than a poorly placed suite. Secret number 5. Walls have neighbors too. This is the invisible part most people miss. You see a cabin number, a deck, a view, but you don't see the systems behind the walls. A couple in their 60s booked a cabin on deck 9, midship, balcony. Looked perfect on paper. But on the first night, they heard a low hum coming through the wall. It was faint, but constant. The husband couldn't sleep. He came to the desk the next morning and I checked the layout. Their cabin shared a wall with a laundry room, industrial washers and dryers running around the clock. We moved them to deck 10, same price category, and they had a wonderful rest of the cruise. He thanked me and said he wished he'd known to ask about what was behind the walls, not just above and below. Another example. A family of 4 booked 2 connecting cabins on deck 6. Great price, great location on the map. But those cabins were right next to the main galley entrance. From 5 a.m. to midnight, there was a steady stream of staff moving supplies, carts rolling, metal doors opening and closing. The parents didn't mind too much because they were up early anyway, but the teenage kids struggled. By day 4, the parents asked if we could move just the kids to a quieter cabin. We found one on deck 8, away from service areas, and the kids were much happier. The parents stayed where they were. Everyone compromised, everyone won. Secret number 6, timing creates predictable noise patterns. Some noise happens at specific times, and if you understand the rhythm, you can work with it instead of against it. Early morning is when you hear cleaning crews vacuuming hallways, room service carts rolling, and people heading to the gym. If you're trying to sleep in, use a do not disturb sign. Late evening is when public spaces wind down, but crew shifts change. Midnight to 2 a.m. is usually the quietest time on most ships, but if you're near the casino or nightclub, that's when those areas are busiest. Understanding the ship's rhythm helps you set realistic expectations and plan around it. Secret number 7. Mid-level decks are the Goldilocks zone. Mid-level decks, usually 7 through 10 on most large ships, tend to be quieter than the very top decks where all the activity is, or the very bottom decks where machinery runs. These middle decks are often where crew cabins and additional guest cabins are, which means less foot traffic and fewer public spaces. You're far enough from the engines and close enough to amenities without being in the middle of the action. Secret number 8. Aft cabins are underrated. The back of the ship tends to have fewer people walking past, and the cabins there often have larger balconies. The downside is that in rough seas, the aft moves more, but in calm conditions, it's a peaceful spot. Just make sure you're not directly below the buffet or the outdoor grill area. I've seen aft cabins that were perfect, except for the smell of cooking oil drifting down from the deck above. One whiff of bacon grease at 7 a.m., and you'll understand why location matters. Secret number 9. Inside cabins can be your secret weapon. Inside cabins are sometimes quieter than ocean view or balcony cabins because they're tucked deeper into the ship's core. If you're traveling on a budget and noise is a bigger concern than a view, consider an inside cabin on a middle deck, away from elevators. You'll save money and potentially sleep better than someone who paid double for a balcony near the pool. Some of the best rested passengers I've met were in inside cabins on deck 8, midship, far from any public spaces. Now here's what you do with this information. If you've already booked and you're worried about noise, call the cruise line and ask specific questions. Don't just accept the cabin assignment. Ask what's above it, what's below it, what's nearby. Most customer service agents have access to detailed deck plans, and they can tell you if there's a theater, galley, or gym in proximity. If they say yes and that concerns you, ask if there's another cabin in the same category that's in a quieter area. Sometimes they can make a note on your reservation, and when you check in, you'll be reassigned automatically. If you're already on board and you immediately realize there's an issue, go to guest services within the first few hours. The sooner you ask, the better your chances. Ships keep a few cabins in reserve for exactly this reason. Don't wait until day 4 when you're exhausted and frustrated. Speak up on day 1. Bring practical tools. Invest in good earplugs, designed for sleeping, not the cheap foam ones. Some passengers swear by noise-canceling headphones or a white noise machine. There are apps that play ocean sounds, rain, or static. They're surprisingly effective at masking low-level noise. Another tip, join online cruise forums and look for deck plan reviews. Experienced cruisers mark up deck plans with notes like loud here or quiet zone or avoid this area. These reviews are gold. They're based on real experiences, not marketing photos. You'll learn things like which side of the ship gets more sun, which cabins have obstructed views, and which areas have ongoing construction or refurbishment. Travel during off peak times if possible. If the ship isn't full, crew can be more flexible with cabin changes. If you're on a cruise that's at 70% capacity, guest services has more options. You can politely explain your situation, and they might be able to move you without any extra charge. But if the ship is sold out, your options are limited. So if quiet is a priority, consider booking cruises that aren't during school holidays or major vacation weeks. Here's the truth most people miss. You don't need a perfect cabin. You need a cabin that works for your specific needs. If you're a heavy sleeper who's out exploring all day, a cabin near the elevator might not bother you at all. If you're someone who naps in the afternoon or works remotely from the ship, you need a quieter zone. If you're traveling with small children who go to bed early, you absolutely want to avoid cabins near nightlife areas. Think about your own sleep habits. Do you wake up to every sound, or do you sleep through alarms? Do you need total darkness, or are you okay with some light? Do you feel vibrations easily, or do they not bother you? These questions should guide your cabin choice as much as price or view. The biggest takeaway is this: the ship is a living, breathing system. It has rhythms, quiet zones, and active zones. When you understand that system, you stop feeling like a passenger at the mercy of luck. You start feeling like someone who knows how to work with the ship instead of against it. You make small adjustments that lead to better sleep, less stress, and a more enjoyable vacation. You don't need to spend thousands more. You just need to pay attention to details that most people overlook. So here's my challenge to you. If you're planning a cruise or if you've already booked one, take a few minutes to look at your cabin location. Check what's above it, below it, and next to it. If anything concerns you, reach out to the cruise line now. Ask questions, request a change if needed. And if you're already on board and you realize there's an issue, go to guest services within the first day. The sooner you speak up, the better your chances of finding a solution. And if you've had a cabin experience in the past, good or bad, share it in the comments below. Other cruisers learn from real stories, not just from guides like this. We're all in this together, and the more we share, the better everyone's experience becomes. If you found this helpful, consider subscribing. I'll keep sharing what crew members know, but don't always say out loud. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next voyage.